Hello and welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. Today's guest is also a talk show host, a wrestler, and the owner of the DKW Academy. Please welcome founder Jackson. Mr. Jackson, how you doing today, mate? You all good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you, George?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Can't complain. At the time recording, it's a bit early. Well, for me, because I'm not working and it's Good Friday. So
Yeah, bank
yeah, man, but
holiday
it's
over
good though.
here.
I don't feel like I've actually wasted the morning, so can't complain. Get to do a podcast with you. It's good time as well because you've got a big show that's actually going to be in my neck of the woods at the Park Tavern. So it's
Yeah,
actually going to be this weekend, so Saturday. So it's in Southend-on-Sea, London Road, easy to get to. I can't say enough good stuff about the pub.
the pub's lovely. The pub's
It's brilliant.
absolutely lovely.
It's great, and it's
Very
not your
nice.
first show that you've done either. So, you've come back, and you've been welcome back, and the show that you have got tomorrow is for a good cause, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's for Little Havens
Hmm.
Hospice, which is a fantastic charity.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of the shows for there previously. We did one for Macmillan Cancer Support last year as well.
Hmm.
I was planning to do one for each charity kind of thing, but it's a really great cause and it's very local as well, which I know people are very for me, that was very important. It was a very local charity. Not saying obviously other charities don't matter, but I think
Yeah.
particularly that area, the struggle for a lot of those parents is very real, and it helps people obviously who may have very kids that have very short lives essentially, which obviously is a very sad kind of thing. And there's a lot of people in that area that they need the help. Parents, the kids themselves, obviously. So it's a very kind of touching cause. But we like to, as we like to do in Great Britain, we like to turn these kind of things into something. So there's like a nice event tomorrow, which will feature several kind of wrestling matches.
Hmm.
Got tomorrow spotlighted tomorrow is the tag team championships, as there will be four teams that will compete in a tournament for the DKW Tag Team Championships, which are currently held by Big Steppers, who are defending them in this tournament. So obviously, we may see new champions tomorrow,
Nice.
live in Southend, which could be quite an exciting thing.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. I should be in attendance as well. So if you see myself, say hi. But
Yeah,
if I see you, or if I see the talent, or just see people that I already know, get to have fun while you're helping people out.
yeah,
So
definitely.
before we talk about more shows that you've got lined up and
Mhm.
DKW Academy, I want to rewind the clocks and discover what got you into wrestling in the first place.
Oh wow, how long we got? I mean, I'm a lifelong fan. Like, I think some people find that a bit of a derogatory thing to say. Like, but I'm
Hmm.
a lifelong. Even now, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of what I do. I'm a fan of what I watch. And my first wrestling match that I ever saw, like I remember seeing, was Sting versus Ric Flair, and that hooked me. From I think Great American Bash 1990, I want to say. But that match hooked
When
me,
Sting
and
finally
then
wins the big belt.
yeah, that match hooked me, and I've been a lifelong Sting fan because of that. And I think those initial moments that we've all had as children or as young fans, I think do stick with you for a long
Hmm.
time. Obviously, for a number of years, Sting, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, they were like my things, my heroes. But I think as I getting into the business side of things, like when I first decided to get in to business, was following on the flip side of that big moment we talked about was from seeing a Raw house show in 2003 at Wembley. And that's basically what got me into it. And watching a documentary on Channel 4 did actually called Lock Up Your Sons, which was about backyard wrestling. And in this documentary, they took a group of backyard wrestlers
Hmm.
to a training school. And that training school happened to be the Dropkicks Academy in Purfleet. And I just didn't know, now I know the internet, people need to remember it 20 years ago. I've
Lock
already
Up the
set the
Suns, by the way, is that what it's called? I'm just making a note. I thought I'd seen like all the documentaries. This one I've not come
scene.
across, so I'm
It's
definitely
called
have to
Lock Up.
watch
Yeah,
out.
Lock Up. I think it was Dispatches, or Channel 4 have those documentary strands, one of those.
Yeah, like a series, but then it would have like a different
Great.
subject and topics. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I don't know what it was called 20 years ago, but yeah, the documentary it rings true in my mind.
hmm
I might have confused it with another title, but that's kind of what I remember it as. It was definitely Channel 4 though.
yeah,
And it was one of those very early ones around backyard wrestling. Because obviously, again, we have to kind of get back into our minds from 20 years ago as a UK wrestling fan and think about the options we had on the table. It's a very different business to what we have now. Yeah, because nowadays, we have, wrestlers coming into the business, trainees coming into the business, 16, 17, 18 years old. And they only remember really good times for British wrestling, where obviously nowadays you've got Progress, you've got AEW coming, once a year, WWE doing big pay-per-views now, and TV, and tours, and NXT, and, all this kind of stuff that's happened since. But 20 years ago, over 20 years ago now, when I first watched that documentary and first had to go on the school library computers.
Oh, that brings back memories, mate.
And search up, about Dropkicks Academy, and we had to print off from, remember that map site? What was it called? I think it was Minimap or something. We had to print off the maps. 20 years ago, to print off the maps in the school library. Well, I had to distract the librarian, and my friend pressed print so she wouldn't see.
All this for directions to a wrestling school. You were definitely a cool kid at school then.
But it was a very different world. And obviously, all we got back then was we had a few UK exclusive pay-per-views, which we're looking to do actually, on maybe on the Red Noise stuff, which I can get to later on, I guess. But looking to do like these rewatching of the UK pay-per-view, but they're very unique, aren't they? Like your likes of Insurrection and Rebellion from 98, 99.
Those shows were pretty bad, to be honest. When you go back and watch them, they just, oh my god, they're proper house shows, but glorified house shows, really.
Yeah, but back then that was our WrestleMania. I know it's really bad.
Oh yeah,
that was our WrestleMania because it was the first, on those shows, it was our first time seeing wrestlers like Stone Cold Steve Austin, like Triple H, like Brock Lesnar, like everyone else that we saw on television. It was our only time, and then they eventually got the Raw television show, didn't they? I think in the mid 2000s, once or twice a year. And now they built up obviously the Clash at the Castle and what would happen. But back then there was none of this. This is what I need to, the scene I'm trying to set to people. There was none of this. No internet, no nothing. And so all I had, to my knowledge, was you had no idea how to get into wrestling. I remember going to shows at like the Fairfield Halls in Croydon and seeing wrestlers on them, obviously. And there'd be wrestlers from obviously UK, from from all over Europe and sometimes America. But you had no idea like how I, from my seat, could get to there in the ring.
Yeah.
There wasn't a clear path. Whereas now, I think when you go to any wrestling show, you're most likely aware that it's maybe ran by a promoter that owns a training school, or they had mentioned a training school at some point, or where the wrestlers are coming from, or you follow wrestling on social media, and you can find out, oh, this person Dre trained at this place. Oh, here's a picture of that person that I saw on the show on Saturday.
Just a quick Google. Literally, message near me. That's it. It's so lucky these days. Honestly, it would take us hours. I'm reading like a wrestling book or something. We'd have to dig deep to find a fucking school. Now there's done.
Yeah. No, it wasn't made easy. When I first went into Dropkicks, when I first trained Dropkicks, we're talking. I think honestly, it was within one of only 5 training places in the UK. You had the FWA Academy, which I believe had
Portsmouth, wasn't it?
Punter?
Was that Portsmouth?
Yeah, Portsmouth,
yeah.
That was in Portsmouth. Then you had Robbie Brookside School, Wrestle Leicester, which I don't think we called Wrestle Leicester back then, but now it's called Wrestle Leicester. That was obviously up in Leicester. And then you probably had a couple of things up in Scotland, I want to say, but that's so far field. But there was nothing. There's absolutely nothing. I think Marty Jones, for World of Sport star, Marty Jones, he was running something in the Midlands area around there, but you're talking very, very slim pickings. Or it was people went over to America. That was basically, and even when I first started, the route to WWE was you would do, the rounds kind of in the UK, and then you would fly yourself over to America, because the only way to get into WWE, and that I remember at the time, there's no AEW, WCW had died, TNA was still very much like indie, like
still
low down the run. Remember they were doing weekly pay-per-views, getting like 10,000 buys. They weren't now what they have become. Like a solid kind of second or third company, depending how you look at it, what metric you want to decide. They were very still the fledgling. The big dog was the WWE. and that was the only way to get there. But when I first started training, it's it was a very different business as to what it is now from a training school perspective as well. I started training, and my first training session, I remember it so vividly, actually, the whole training session. But the first kind of memories, the main memories that stick out, the fact that we had Stu Sanders, who would go on to become now WWE commentator, former WWE Intercontinental Champion, main evented a number of shows, didn't they, under the Wade Barrett guys, Wade Barrett. So obviously, he was there, and so was Nick Aldis, the current SmackDown general manager. He was there. And maybe not allowed to say his name anymore, but I'll say it because I think he's a great talent. Marty Scurll, he was there. They were all there, and they used to come travel together from Norwich. Nick Aldis, one of the kind of hardest working people I ever kind of met at first. He along with that Carl would travel down from Norwich to Purfleet in Essex every single Sunday, and we used to train for 6 hours. I think it was 10 till 4, 11 till 5, 1 to 2. And they would be there a solid hour before, doing the ring and getting that extra ring time. And those are the kind of people that were around at that time. And obviously, through my group, we got people like Laser Lagdon, Tony Kemp, Dan Eels, the Flying Scotsman. They were there a bit before. And
Dan Eels,
yeah, great
class. Used to speak to him on MSN Messenger. Fucking hell. Christ.
But yeah, we're showing our age in this. This is the sad thing about doing this.
Yeah, man.
But it was a whole different world. We had like a large talent that we had at the time.
Yeah.
But the sad thing really is we don't have many shows, and that's something which obviously over the years I've rectified. But there were times where we had maybe 3 or 4 shows a year, and we had a large talent roster. Very large talent roster. We had Team Beautiful, Stan Beckwith and Barbara Bateman, brilliant kind of comedy tag team. We had Danny Garnell, Barry Ryan. We had so much talent basically at this time. And obviously John Ritchie became the head trainer at the tail of 2004. Yeah, at the tail of 2004. And John Ritchie obviously ended up doing stuff with LDN Wrestling and becoming a big part of the kind of I'm gonna call it, the kind of the first boom or the first reborn of British wrestling. I think because I don't know if you remember these, but like at the start of the 2000s, there was a lot of shows that only really focused on becoming like a WWE or WWF light, because that's why if you look at the history of promotions, the amount of promotions that still follow the model of like initialisms, so whether it's even DKW, but just time for drop kicks, but there's loads of promotions that but at the 2000s there was like a lot of promotions that just wanted to be WWE but in your area. There was UK versions of WWE talent. I went to a show and there was like UK Undertaker.
Oh my god, UK Legion of Doom and UK
UK Rey Mysterio. And things like that, but we weren't carving out our own identity for a long time.
No, you're spot on.
In my opinion, again, might get a little bit of hate for this, but I think LDN wrestling was very important and integral to kind of re-establishing the British wrestling stuff over here, because the legend shows that LDN did back in 2006, 2007. It was the first time that a lot of a big show had the main focus being British wrestling stars, I think, because we spent a lot of time just trying to be American, and trying to mimic that style and bring the Americans over, constantly for stuff. And it's just like, it's diminishing returns each time. And you're not, there's no point kind of spotlighting talent from overseas when we've got talent over here. Whereas obviously LDN and what they did at first on television, way back when on the Wrestling Channel,
Oh, shout out to the Wrestling Channel. Do you know what's sad, right? It's the fact that there is like a generation that just don't have a clue about the Wrestling Channel.
Yeah.
We're so grateful to watch it. It was my first exposure to like TNA, introduction to them, and Ring of Honor and FWA, and oh mate, you remind me about the Wrestling Channel, by the way. It just made me smile a little bit. But continue, mate, continue.
No. I think it was an integral time though for British wrestling, because obviously, yes, the Wrestling Channel housed a number. It then actually became the Fight Network or something, didn't it? Or the Fight Channel or something. It started to incorporate. To be fair, the early kind of MMA kind of boom that we got,
Mm.
you know, it was through that channel. Because again, like, people, we need to remember, like, this, we're talking in an era where the internet did not dictate our lives. And so if something happened, if, you know, I'm trying to think comparable, like, you know, nowadays, for example, I can quickly go and Google who's the current New Japan Intercontinental Champion, for example, and that's fine. I can probably watch clips of their last match, like, with very relative ease, probably most likely without having to go through a paywall. If I want to pay for it, that's fine. I can also pay to watch it on pay-per-view, but I can see the clip of someone winning a belt, essentially, very easily like that. Same, and WWE, obviously, their social media is crazy. Like, you know, they're putting up videos that probably while we're recording this, they put up probably like about 55 videos. They're crazy, aren't they? How much content they put out on the regular. But back then, there was no way of doing this.
No.
So the Wrestling Network, the Wrestling Channel, sorry, was like, for many, probably their first introductions to anything that wasn't WWE or WCW, because those were the only promotions that aired on here.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, you mentioned Ring of Honor there. Ring of Honor was obviously how I discovered, like, a lot of wrestlers that then became known elsewhere, because obviously Ring of Honor had CM Punk, they had Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, they had, you know, Claudio, you know, Cesaro, etc. They had loads of these stars kind of at that time. And you know, for many people, that was the first time seeing any wrestlers basically that weren't signed to Vince McMahon, you know, which is bonkers to think of it, you know. But 20 years ago, that was the nature of the beast. And that, but what LDN did is they put the British stamp, I think, on that, because they were able to produce and showcase new stars, which then enabled everyone else to kind of follow and mimic it. And I've always said this: the business starts from the top and it filters down. So we're only can ever be as good as what's like above us. And I think, you know, at the time, if what was above us before this was obviously, you know, UK Undertaker and UK Rey Mysterio.
Bring back the Legion of Doom, the UK version. Page's dad, by the way. Fun fact.
Yeah, look, I love Road Warriors as well. So we can get to talk about those. Honestly, my trainees, they probably sick to the death of hearing about Road Warriors, how much I love them. But yeah, like, phenomenal tag team. But obviously, yeah, like, we don't need to see basically, you know, budget Road Warriors. Yeah. You know, we need to see what we're known for.
Yeah.
But obviously, if we flash forward a few years, Progress come onto scenes, and they really changed things up. And every promotion since, I think, has made like a British stamp on their identity. And for me, that's why it is very important that our belts are British championships, you know. And this is no kind of stab at people who have other named their championships, I guess, I want to say. But I don't see the point, personally, of having a world championship when most promotions are only going to stay, most likely, even just within their own county or their own kind of half of the country, even.
Or they'll only defend it like every 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, just, are you really the champion?
I just think there's something nice about being British. I don't know. There's something quite nice about it. And I think it's got lost in translation over the years as, you know, again, I know you avoid politics, and for good reason, but it seems to have a bad connotation when you say...
Speak your mind, mate. Honestly, this platform for you to speak your mind. Like, whether I agree or not, that's a different story. But
yeah.
You can say what you want, mate. Honestly, I won't frown upon it either. It's just, you know, I like to hear people's honest opinions.
No, okay, well, yeah. I mean, it's a very hard topic to approach, but I just think that for some people, the term British has a kind of negative connotation. I think for multiple different reasons, and I think it's about time we challenge that, because yes, I don't think we need to get like America with this whole like flags everywhere and, you know, thinking we're the best country in the world, blah blah. But I still think we should be proud of being British. There's something unique about being British. I mean, the fact we're having this conversation about, we mentioned stuff like the Wrestling Channel, we mentioned stuff like 20 years ago in MSN Messenger. That's British. It's all so what we do. We kind of cringe love things. You know what I mean? Like MSN Messenger, like it makes you feel like so warm inside, but also so cringe, like knowing that I used to have song titles as my bloody name. I used to have like Katy Perry, Hot
or if you're in like a relationship with someone, just like, I heart this person. Yeah. Your name on the.
It's a love hate. It's a cringe hate. It's a cringe love, isn't it? Like, we love talking about it, but we have to remember. Oh,
wouldn't change my childhood for anything. Yeah. My teenage days, absolutely not.
And there's just something, and I think in terms of what I'm saying with this, I think there's something nice for me knowing we had British championships and that, it's putting the emphasis, a good emphasis on that word. And so I know it's a positive one. We've had good British Championship matches on our shows, and I think it's important. It's a big part about our identity. And again, like if people want to do it another way, that's fine. And that's something which obviously in wrestling, particularly in the last kind of few years, has really kind of come very important. Like people do things their own way in this, and that is very key, because every promotion has their own identity, has their own kind of, you know, raison d'etre, where they have to where they are different from one another, and that's what makes each place different and unique for places to work. But for me and for DK, it's very important that we brand ourselves as British. Like, you know, we've been a part of, in my opinion, you know, British wrestling scene for the best part of, you know, 3 decades now. You know, from the, you know, the school obviously was established in 1998 by Frank Reimer, and then John Rich took over in 2004, and I've kind of kept it going, you know, for the past over 10 years now. So
I want to touch on that, like the process of you actually becoming sort of, you know, not necessarily the founder, but the owner of DKW Academy, and just tell me about some of the, you know, the operations that you experience when you do run the shows and promoting the shows, and just even putting the matches together. I don't want to sort of, you know, break down too much of the wall, but just give me some insight if you can.
So yeah, I began my kind of journey as a booker for DK. So I was at one point I was a booker, so I was booking the matches. You know, I was identifying that the old way of doing things was to shove kind of everyone on and hope the results were decent. I became the owner just over 10 years ago now, pretty much. And before that, I was a booker, so I was booking the matches. And I had kind of assessed every place I've worked, even working with DK or outside DK, I've always kind of taken things from there and kind of assessed them and how they can work. And for a long time, DK was having a problem where it was just turning into whoever kind of shows up gets a match. And there was a number of matches and shows. There were some shows where we had 8, 9, 10 matches, and the shows were becoming very disjointed and very long. And then along with Sanjay and along with a few other people, we kind of just streamlined. A lot of the show became streamlined, and it seemed to work better. I can't say more clear than that, but I think in terms of the format that I now use, it's a format I've used for like a number of years. So we're obviously having a 5-match card, usually one of those being an attraction match, whether it's a tag team match or battle royal or hardcore match or whatever. And because I've always had at least 3 championships, it means that there's at least kind of 3 prizes up for grabs. I think belts do matter to an audience perspective, so I think it's important to have. And when one champion can't make it, you've got backup options, obviously.
Yeah,
they're all very different kind of divisions, is how I see it. But I think the format that I've now rested on with the 5 matches, it seems to work best. There's been times where we've made deviations of that, and I've just found one way or the other it's not really worked. Like we had a show last year in Westcliff where we had 4 matches, and it was hard to like kind of long everything out kind of thing, because it was like you need that extra match, because particularly at the level we're at, you can't have regularly people doing like 20-minute, 25-minute matches, you know, because obviously from the academy, like they're new, that you're throwing them into places.
Still a showcase for them, isn't it? Like they're still learning as they go.
Whereas when we have 6 matches, it was just finding it. Simon Millis said something recently, actually, about independent shows still needing squash matches. And I was against squash matches for a long time, but I'm actually in a weird way now for them again, because I think when you look at it, you look at a room of wrestlers. When you're looking at a card, you're looking at a room of wrestlers that all want to do the same thing. They all want to showcase their talents. They all want to get some more followers on social media, look cool, you know, to their friends or whatever. Blah, you know, the list goes on and on.
Pros again.
But you're looking at
all good.
Yeah, cool. You're looking at obviously they all want the same thing, but you know the show needs different things, and that's the thing. Like it's a case of, well, you can't have give everyone.
Not everyone can wrestle 25 competitive match, you know, just
exactly.
false finishes stuff. Everything's got to be different.
Yeah. And so with the squash match, it makes sense because it will shorten that it was shorten bits in the show to make it so that not every match is like 15 minutes. And with respect as well, like something John Ritchie kind of said as well is like, you know, why can't matches, in order for things to be a threat, matches do have to end certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, one of the pet peeves I have in wrestling now is obviously they overdo the same finish quite a lot in general.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, like take like a roll up, for example, that when it first kind of was used as like a finish or like a, you know, out of nowhere kind of move, it gets a big pop. But each time you then use it afterwards,
it's like every fucking week now.
it
It loses its meaning. Yeah.
And especially when, and it usually is AEW that do this, they have these matches where they're doing something of a top rope through tables outside on the floor and then a roll up 1, 2, 3. Like what? Like, what?
Oh, you know? Don't get me started. Like just the finishes of AEW at the moment. It's 75 finishes. Oh my god. And it's just like, oh, kick out. This is TV. This is Dynamite. Sorry,
yeah.
just had to get off my chest a little bit. It's like pay-per-views, okay, I accept that, but I don't need it on Rampage or Collision. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, I think overall things just went have gone a bit bonkers.
Yeah. But it's not just them as well. Other companies are guilty of this as well. But
yeah. But I think in terms of, you know, like an independent show, I think, yeah, like you can just, it's fine to just have matches where the high spot could be just one, keyword one, you know, top rope move, you know, like a crossbody, 1, 2, 3, that's it. Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? Or, well, the old kind of Razor Ramon 1, 2, 3 kid finish. Perfect. Like, honestly, absolutely perfect. It's absolutely fine for a villain to be talking crap and like not to be doing much action in the match, and then, you know, get caught with a couple of moves. The fake Bayface goes to the top. That like nice little somersault. You know, 1, 2, 3. That's it. Like, it's absolutely fine. You don't need basically every match to go to this false finishers and outside interference and distraction and blah blah and weapons and all this kind of rubbish, when you can just have like a match be, it's just like 4 minutes. You know, it's just 4 minutes. Or you got a big guy you want to get over, and you got a small guy. You go, right, you know, there we go. There's your time. There's your spot. And I'm trying to, you know, this year, like honestly, is about me getting. Everything I'm doing is about getting the younger talent over. Well, it has been for a long time anyway, but this year I'm really like, I'm only picking stuff that I know will help get those young guys over. And I'm fine being the kind of fool. So like, we had the Oscars Battle Royal. I went out first. I was happy to do doing the villain promo, then coming out, getting in a ring, get eliminated in 5 seconds.
You do like your promos, mate. Calling them fans puppets and stuff, you know, you're not shy to be a dick to the crowd. And I'm just like, fucking hell, man, he's a bit mouthy, isn't he? Like, compared to like how you are, like Messenger and stuff, you're quite reserved and quite nice. But like on the mic, you know, just like, you muppets, and it's like the audience of Jeremy Kyle and just
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first time I said that line, I was fearing a little bit because there's some people that got so angry at the back.
Just that one person's just got to react to that. Just like, okay, mate. All right. Okay, you're probably right, and then run off.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I genuinely love the engagement with the crowd, though.
Yeah,
and that's what it's about. Like, it's about wrestling, especially at this level. I think it's about entertaining people as well.
Yeah,
you're there to do a job, you know, and you can entertain them in different ways that aren't just wrestling. I think the promo skills, obviously myself and a few other people that do the promos and show on the shows, like, I think it really helps. But in terms of, we kind of circle back down to me, but in terms of booking, I think that I just like to book things that I think people want to see, people be excited by, and that when I'm looking at the whole card, I'm going, okay, I've got this for this group of fans. I've got the high flying for the fans who like Rey Mysterio. I've got, you know, big guys for people like Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. I've got tag teams for people like the Young Bucks or, you know, whoever that. You know, I'm going for that card going, there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think, and again, like, I think a lot of shows booking wise fail because they only want to book from what the promoter or the booker likes watching.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very bad way to go into these things. Because yes, there's some things, look, plot twist. There are some things on my shows that exist that I don't like in terms of as a wrestling fan, right? But
do you want to reveal that, or just keep hush on that one? Just doing some fish at the moment.
Look, part of this we've discussed already, so I'm not going to go back into it.
Oh yeah. That's fine. But that's understandable. That's just, you know, that makes sense. That's fine.
Yeah, and you know, and I'm not overly a fan of stuff like it's hard to say this now, isn't it? Because it's like people to be hang on to this. Because I don't want people to think don't do this on my shows or other shows. But I want it to caveat that it's just not something I'm a fan of personally. You know, like I'm not a fan like overly of kind of the small powerhouse wrestler. So I'm not a fan of if someone's smaller than you, them being a powerhouse just because they happen to be maybe like a big, like a chunky build or like they go to the gym or whatever. I just don't personally see how it looks believable to a fan. Yeah. But I understand that has its place because people in the back in the day got behind people like Taz, for example, who, you know, he was meant
Although
to be...
when you went to WWE, you fucking noticed the difference. Like from ECW, he's the man. He's throwing Bam Bam Bigelow and, you know, Shane Douglas around. And he goes to WWE and just like doesn't help like Jerry Lawler just take the piss out of him constantly.
Well, the thing is, it was Land the Giants back then, wasn't it? You had Taker, Kane, Big Show, you know, like But I'm not always fan. But the thing is, I understand that, like in terms of wrestling, like everything has its kind of place, you know. You know, then
this is just your personal preference. That's all. Yeah.
And again, like other trends, and there's other trends that happen as well. Like, you know, love Brock Lesnar to bits, but he did get and Kevin Owens to bits, but they both got a lot of people into the mindset of, oh, I can wear like MMA gear now, and I can throw a few punches and kicks, and but look, you're not Brock Lesnar. You are the UFC world champion. You know, like, and you're not like 6'3" and like jacked. Like you're like 5'6" and you know, you just went to one MMA class 10 years ago. Like, he doesn't quality. It's not the same parallel. The same like Kevin Owens. Like people go, oh yeah, but he's like out of shape and he wears shorts and a vest. It's like, yeah, but he's also like honestly one of the best wrestlers in the world. You know, like when they give him the money,
actually look in shape. He's not ripped or anything. His cardio is insanely good.
Yeah,
he is
and the stuff he can do in the ring is phenomenal. Like when you see him able to like moonsaults and all the stuff he does on the ropes, like, oh crap, okay, he's someone who's worth. Essentially, you've got to put yourself in the mindset of like, how is what I've got worth booking?
Yeah,
you know, like worth people paying money for. And I think that's the answer to that question. But yeah, there's a lot of things. But you go, okay, will the audience enjoy it? Will the fan enjoy it? That's the main thing. Like, if the fans are going to enjoy it, then that's kind of where I'm at. And so I'm like, well, you know, fans enjoy high flying. They enjoy, you know, the teasers and the false finishes. And, you know, I think as well, like we've established ourselves and we like doing a lot of the sports entertainment kind of stuff. So we do stuff like referee bumps and, you know, false finishes and interference, you know, that kind of stuff that you see a lot. And fans like that. And again, there'll be some wrestlers who I book, some that I don't book, who might say, oh, that's a bit over the top doing all that kind of stuff. But then I could flip that and say, well, it's about the top when you do bloody, you know, 15 reversals from a tombstone and then finish on a roll up, you know, like. But then it's all just like whatever people like, isn't it? And that's why wrestling at the heart of it. Weirdly, I was at the circus last night, and I've always compared wrestling to a circus, and I think it's a variety show. There's something for everyone. Like think Ant and Dec Saturday Night Takeaway. Think if it was just if that show was just 2 hours of them just doing their, you know, silly comedy things, but they have different skits, they have different segments of that show where, okay, you might not like when they do, you know, I don't like when we do like this sing-along live thing, but I do like the Ant vs. Dec stuff, and I like when they do the end of the show stuff. So there's something for everyone, do you know what I mean? I think that at the heart of booking a card, it's no different from any other entertainment form. Like you wouldn't accept it in a movie. If a 2-hour movie was all action all the time and no drama, no romance, no character development, no anything else, you'd go, well, that wasn't any good. But then if it has all those extra things to it, you go, oh, I really enjoyed that. That was a really good movie. And it's similar with wrestling. It's a form of entertainment. And I think that's potentially where I think a lot of people go wrong. They book only stuff they like from their one kind of single mindset.
Yeah, very niche audience.
Band it to go, oh, let's think about what the fans might like.
Like what the fans would think online. Like I think with your shows, it's very important because a lot of them are family shows. Casual fans, you know, they want to be entertained. They don't really give a shit about star ratings or if this wrestler's been in New Japan or whatever. You know, they just want a good, fun show. They can boo, they can cheer, they can have a laugh. They want to come back. You know, they want to get involved. They want to they want to celebrate with the wrestler if he's won the title. You know, those are the kind of shows. They don't give a shit about the feedback on Twitter or Dave Meltzer said or anything like that. They just want to relax. Don't worry about any gossip or dirt sheets from that. And I think that's a mistake a lot of modern promoters and bookers make these days. Not Tony Khan, I know I've mentioned AEW, but just in general, like the young ones as well, they're getting into it. Let's see what the fans saying quite right now. Let's just, but they're not paying, they're not giving you the money, are they? It's the fans that are going to be there every week in that county, in that town. I want them to come back again, and you got to give them a bit of everything, not just what you like. And you've clearly, demonstrated that in this podcast.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm trying. Like, I think obviously I don't get everything right. Like,
Yeah.
and you learn every time you do something.
You're human.
And, yeah, but I mean, we have from a training perspective now. We kind of have, I kind of call it a kind of tiering system from as we go, and so we do mock match sessions, basically every 2 months, about every 2 months, where I test out formats, and they are closed door shows that we have within our academy, and they only get attended by the wrestlers and some of their kind of parents or girlfriends or whatever. But it's very much a closed thing. It doesn't go online or anything. I test things out, and then following that, we have stuff at the pub shows, which obviously, yes, they are attended by the public, but they're usually not within the DKW canon of things. So we do essentially mock match sessions, which I think for the students at the academy at the moment are really beneficial. They're closed door kind of shows where only the parents and maybe the girlfriends or whatever kind of show up and watch, and there are other wrestlers. But it allows me to test things out before the main shows, and the ticketed events like the ones on Leon C and in Westcliff. Obviously, the pub shows are kind of in between because they're sometimes a bit not canon. They're not obviously not ticketed, so we haven't got the kind of pressure, so to speak, behind a ticketed event. But they're also a good testing ground for other stuff as well. But I think it really helps having that tiering system in mind when it comes to booking. And I think it's integral that I see people do more reps because you all suck. And the annoying thing that the thing about the tell trainees is like you will suck for your first like 10 15 matches sometimes. Like you'll not suck, but you'll have things that you dislike, and there'll be problems and there'll be feedback and all this kind of stuff, sometimes for 10 15 matches in, and you only really start getting good like once you've relaxed and you understand yourself as a wrestler. And this is we discussed off air about doing plenty of part 2 of this, but I think in terms of where I'll leave it for trainees as any trainers that are watching, I want to shout some of them out as well. Actually,
go for it, man. Go for it.
This stuff up. I'm really quite proud of the crop we have at the academy at the moment. Like we've got the likes of people that you'll see tomorrow as well, such as Youth Project. That's Dylan Scales and Isaac Blair. Been doing this. They're both 16, but really putting the effort in. And they're a tag team, and they'll be in action tomorrow. At the pub show. I also like to shout out Big O. He was the fastest rising rookie from our academy, won the British Championship for a short period last year within his rookie year because he got really over and really kind of wanted to really worked hard at this. And I think it's very important that we shout these people out, and obviously Axel Woods, who sadly can't be there tomorrow because of other commitments, but he's a current showcase champion and someone who we're always proud to kind of have on. And we've got making his first appearance as Ash Lee. He's had appearances as another character for us, but his first kind of appearance, Ashley, who will be on the pub show tomorrow as well, and he's kind of the first full match. And these along with people like Tom Edwards, the current champion, and many more, Peter Miller, they make the academy what it is, like these, a book is only as good as the people who I've got in front to book with, and these people make it, quite an enjoyable job, like to do so.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. Just a few people who have been affiliated with Dropkicks Wrestling Academy and the podcast. So I'd like to do a quick word association with you. I'm going to say some people's names. Ricky Two Thumbs.
Tenacious, I guess. Always tenacious.
I like that word. It's a good word. Harry McDonald. I know you might get a fun answer for this one.
Oh, the Big Mac. Yeah, like I think when I think of the Harry, I just think of he'll understand this, and people what watch the match will understand this. The chair. Well, I'll leave it at that. The chair. AA. Leave it at
that. Really good friend of the show. Someone I've actually become quite close with. Champagne Charlie.
Oh, Champagne Charlie. Now, Founder Jackson, the character at the moment, is not very happy with Champagne Charlie.
Yes. Didn't cash in, did you?
Me the British Championship.
Yep.
But Founder Jackson, the owner, I have to say, I've never been around someone who can be knocked down as many times as Champagne Charlie has been,
Yeah.
in terms of personally, and get back up again. Like, I've seen this guy, like, you know, get injured week after week at training and then just come back the next week for more. He's just like, what? Like, there were people who, when he first started, who really wanted him out of the business. People, probably still people that do want him out of the business still, but he's persevered through it all. So if there has to be like one word to describe Champagne Charlie, it's a fighter. But I still hate him.
Great guy, you know, he just doesn't stop. He's a fighter, but I fucking hate him.
Yeah.
Charlie, I don't. You're the man. Great guy. That's all good. That's all blessed. And last one, just because I'm doing the association with the show and your company as well. And he's been mentioned already, Nick Aldis, one of the first people I ever had on the podcast in the early days.
Yeah. Nick Aldis is proof essentially of the hard work. You know, if you rewind this episode, you'll see that we mentioned about his hard work, his dedication, training, and his dedication with everything. And I think that Nick Aldis is a useful tool in anyone's kind of book. You know, I think it was amazing that he went under the radar of WWE for so long. And obviously, you know, there were politics potentially backstage behind why he wasn't obviously invited to be part of the product, you know, in a wrestling capacity. But now it seems they're happy to have him on as a non-wrestler. And look, he's absolutely smashing this role that he's on.
Fantastic as the GM right now. Love it.
I think it really helps having a GM that was a wrestler. I think obviously for years they had the whole kind of like evil authority figure, which obviously Vince McMahon and Stephanie and Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff, they had all kind of different variations of that. And then they had obviously the great Teddy Long, who's made loads of tag matches. One-on-one with The Undertaker. It is bonkers that. And sorry, a little sidebar. But it's bonkers that in 2002, The Undertaker and Hulk Hogan are wrestling weekly television matches for like a short period. Like, it's bonkers. When you think now, like when they had like Sting debut in WWE, he had like 2 matches within like a year. You know, back in the day, they're like, Hulk Hogan would be wrestling on Raw. Like, and that
was weird. It's like Hulk Hogan's against Ric Flair on fucking Monday Night Raw.
It's bonkers. Even Flair, his whole return, he was a weekly performer. He was wrestling television, you know, from like 2002.
Like, when
even after they told him he couldn't do it anymore, you know, to like when he should have retired, let's be real, at WrestleMania 24, he's wrestling weekly television matches, like, and pay-per-views.
I'll give him credit. I know he basically did the same thing, right? And I can't, you know, deny that he didn't. But he moves so fucking well for his age and the injuries and just wrestling with these, you know, these young guys and just experienced guys. And he's mid-50s at this point. He moves and keeps up them so fucking well, and actually looks after his body as well at that age.
Yeah. No, I think obviously anything past that initial retirement, I think it was. The thing is, his last match, I can see why he did it. And I can see it'll always just be a draw. But I just think, I just think it should happen. But this is a whole other thing. I think it's something which sadly I think wrestlers now, because they've been given, a lot of these wrestlers have been given this second lease, third lease even sometimes, they're always going to continue to chase that final moment, I guess. I think we're seeing it similarly with obviously Edge in AEW at the moment, where it's like, what you're chasing, like, you know, I don't really think you're going to get what you want at the end of this, you know. And we shall see, I guess. But it's what's the dilemma on everyone's mind, I guess, you know, as it's mad to think that this generation, we're still seeing wrestlers that were part of that the last generation, even the generation before that, you know, like compete, you know, like people mentioned like Matt Hardy recently, you know, he's a free agent or whatever, potentially. It's like, well, he's like, it's like 25 years. It's too long. It's too late. It's too late for this. But people will pay to see it. This is the thing. People will pay to see it, and WWE, who knows, it might be on their minds. So thinking, okay, we can have
just burning their money away. No, sorry.
Yeah, sorry for getting sidetracked there, but I would just like,
cool, man. Cool.
Yeah, before we kind of do sign off or whatever, I would like to just get back to where we're going, obviously with DK wise. So we run weekly training sessions every Sunday. I honestly believe that everyone, no matter what age, ability, or whatever, can get involved in wrestling. There's many different roles. The business now actually screams for needing back of house roles. It needs referees, it needs managers, it needs MCs, it needs music people, needs like whoever can add something to a product from a visual perspective or from an in-ring perspective. We need, but we run training sessions every single week. We run a mixture of mat-based sessions and ring sessions, and we actively want like new people, and like that's why on WrestleMania weekend, on WrestleMania Sunday, we're allowing any new person to come for £5. Give us a try. Like £5, I don't even know what you can get for £5 nowadays. I think it's a meal deal. I'm not too sure.
And
It might have gone up.
train station, so it's easy to get to as well. It's on the church, isn't it, or near the church, if I remember? The DKW Academy, where you have the
yes. It's at Huge Hall, which is at the end of North Road in Purfleet. All the information on our social media, which I'm sure you can put in the links or whatever. But yeah, it's a great place to kind of come down, and if you want to start your wrestling journey, start away. It's 16 plus at the moment. We're thinking of adding some junior classes later on in the spring or summer for a short period. So I truly believe everyone can get involved in wrestling, and it'd be good to see like more people. And so we've got that day coming up. Obviously, the pub tomorrow, which is imminent, featuring like I said, tag tournament.
Tavern. It's gonna be awesome, that show tomorrow.
Yeah, Park Tavern. Yeah, great cause as well. And then if you're still in Westcliff area, on the second May bank holiday weekend, on the 26th of May, we'll be at Westcliff for Beach Battle, which will feature the main event, which we announced of the Lee Show, which is a triple threat match for the British Championship. But hopefully I'll win. That's all coming up.
Got my approval there.
Very soon, and we do shows every single month. We've got YouTube and everything else, but yeah, that's basically everything from me.
If the fans want to follow you, founder, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on social media. I'm at Founder Jackson on Instagram, and I have the Founder Jackson and Vicky page. Obviously, I'm part of the Life Changer stuff. That's on Facebook. But yeah, I'm mainly on Instagram. That's the best place to find me and to message me directly. If there are fans, it must be like Founder Jackson fans, the most important part of the show.
Wicked, mate, wicked. Put your description details below so they can follow you. They can get up to date with DKW Academy and shows like the one tomorrow, but in general, like throughout the whole summer and the year, they can keep up to date with what you got lined up. Might not just be Southend, but it'll be Essex. I know you've done London as well. That's where actually beat people for the Jeremy Kyle thing. I remember that. That's really funny. The Muppets. But I'll be a proud Muppet myself. But I have enjoyed the interview. It's been good. It's gonna be part 2 because I feel like there's a lot to touch on you as an individual, you as wrestling talent, and just your journey to where you are now. Because I know we talked about you being a promoter and an owner, but I'd like to have a conversation with you one day about you being a wrestling talent. So we'll have that soon.
I'm up for that, man.
Awesome. So hopefully I get to bump into you tomorrow. If not, wish you good luck for the show. But I'm pretty sure we will encounter each other very soon.
Perfect.
If you can all like this video, that'd be much appreciated. If you can follow me on my social media and also description below, that'd be great. See what I've got lined up next. But for now, everyone, I hope you all have a great Easter weekend and a great half term or whatever you're doing. Just keep safe and look after yourself. Take care.